The first cargo on the new Silk Road from Ukraine to China, bypassing Russia, recently departed to much fanfare. There's hope the route can boost Ukrainian exports, especially in the agricultural sector. But what sort of benefits will this bring? Are Ukrainian companies prepared to expand? And what ramifications have mutual trade embargoes between Ukraine and Russia had on business? Joining us now is Vladislava Rutitska, the Deputy Minister on Ukrainian Integration at the Ukrainian Ministry of Agrarian Policy and Food. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Tom.
So please tell us more about this new Silk Road. It was a big event that happened recently.
Yes, recently, actually, it was 15th of January. The first, let's say, cargo trip was started half-loaded, actually, but it's like to show our ability to go transpass Russia and to bring our goods to China. Actually, it goes through the two seas. First of all, the Black Sea and Caspian Sea, and for us, it's a really big event.
So it follows this ancient route. What sort of goods and products do you think that this route will take to China?
Actually, this first example, it was half-loaded with some part of the steel goods, but for us, really essential to trade to China our agricultural goods, because with the China we have one of the biggest agricultural export. In 2015, actually, it was doubled with comparison to the previous years, and the biggest trade actually goes via ships to China, and it's actually corn, and we have really good results in sunflower oil, in rapeseed oil, and also with the soybean oil, and we would like actually to raise any other kind of the agricultural export, because in 2015 it was possible for us to open after our subcommission on agriculture that took place in actually August of 2015, and to open the milk market.
But what about the decline in China at the moment? I know that the market is going down, exports are decreasing in certain sectors. So have you taken this into account?
Yes, we do taking this into account, but talking about the agricultural goods, we have a stable demand from the China. Actually, mostly in grains, yes, it's like this, but we are going to sell more other kind of the products. And example with the oils could be a really good one, because as well in 2015 we had a biggest export of this type of the oils to China.
And you said that this new route bypasses Russia, and it's less distance in terms of going through different countries. But is it cheaper? Actually,
we are now searching for stable economic approach, because for us really essential to have transparency and corridors through the countries that have a stable economic regime and respect to the trade, international trade.
And do they?
Yes, and right now it's going not only from Ukraine, but also via Georgia, then Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan to China. Actually, the start of this project, it was previously due to the Guam negotiations and cooperations. It was like an idea of Guam decisions to have such a transportation corridor.
So is there a free trade deal that's going to benefit Ukrainian exporters between these countries now?
Yeah, for sure. Because in case you will rely on the economic statistics provided by ING, in 2016, 2017, we do expect to have a real rise with the trade with the Kazakhstan.
But will it still be cheaper, though? Going back to the previous question,
because it should be cheaper, but we should assume as well the distance. It's up to 6,000 kilometers, and to consider the timing, because right now it's approximately up to the 12 days, and we do expect to downsize it till 9 days.
Yeah, so it's going to be a big project, and it's not just to Asia, but also there's a lot of business with Europe now. We have the new association agreement that came in recently. I wanted to ask you, how are Ukrainians living in rural areas, often farmers, how are they going to benefit from this? Is there information that's being provided, or...?
Yes.
What's happening at the ministry?
For sure, for us, really important to boost the creation of the agricultural cooperatives and to give them ability to export. Because right now, mostly export goes to the big agricultural producers and also to the traders. But we do expect for those who live in the rural areas to start to cooperate, and we would like to boost it even with the legislation and even with the help of the international donors.
Often in the past in Ukraine, there's been some problems with buying and selling land, and the agricultural sector has been dominated by both domestic and foreign companies who produce on a mass scale, and that leaves the smaller farmers in a weaker position. So what sort of work is the ministry doing to make sure that these farmers have the same competition with the bigger companies?
Right now, on the development, we have up to the 8 land legislation laws and also sub-laws that will pass through the parliament during this year. And actually, what we would like to have a real open, transparent and understandable land legislation and to perform the land reform. Actually, once again, reverting back to the Silk Road economic belt, that actually consisted right now not only with the Asia countries, like, for example, started from China, then Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, Georgia. Ukraine is included, and actually Ukraine could be like a logistic hub for the Europe, as now Kazakhstan is considered like an Asian transportation hub. In 2016, the first, let's say, cargo will go from China through Georgia to Europe, and we do expect in 2017 to have a stable transportation via Ukraine.
So it's going to be one complete route. And what about food safety as well? Another big challenge for the government is the EU food safety standards. And now in Ukraine, is there double standards? For example, you have one set of standards for Ukrainian exports to Europe, and also you have the other set of standards just for Ukraine. So is there any work being done to make sure that these are the same?
Actually, we have up to 10 years to perform changes in legislation and to harmonize our legislation with the EU requirements. But we have a really precise plan in legislation that should be done during the year according to the plan of this harmonization. We provided gap analysis of our legislation and EU legislations, and actually the norms of certifications and also requirements in safety and quality of the foods are there. And in 2015 we actually did this plan. In 2016, we engaged really professional lawyers with the help of the international donors to be in time with these changes and to provide all these requirements in place.
So you have the documents ready to outline what should be done, but how easy will it be for Ukrainian companies to comply with these laws? Often it's very expensive to change machinery, change practices. So is the ministry helping with funding or any other support?
We have a government program. It was in 2015, in 2016. Unfortunately, we should say that right now the budget of the ministry is smaller than we do expect. But I should say that with the international help, we will provide the help for our agricultural producers to update their facilities and to face this process in have an ability to export to EU.
Because they're still Soviet standards, almost.
But you know, actually we should rely on the figures. In case we rely on the figures, you can see that during the last 2 years, we raised our export to EU, and now the share of EU agricultural export is up to 30%. The Asia agricultural export from Ukraine to Asia countries is actually up to 47, and to Africa it's up to 15.
So it sounds like a real success story then.
So it's not like a success story, but it's actually the rearrangement of our trade activities, because previously it was a huge Russian market, not stable because it was really shaky situation sometimes with all these restrictions that came, let's say, unexpectedly for our producers. But due to these changes that was signed in between our countries, actually free trade agreement, it gives a possibility for us to rearrange this export. And
Okay.
now we would like to concentrate
Okay, perfect.
on the
I'm afraid that's all we
Asia
have time
and
for
Africa.
today. Well, it sounds very interesting. Thank you very much for coming in and telling us more about the agrarian policy that you're following at your ministry.
Okay, thank you very much.
That was Vladislava Rutitska, the Deputy Minister on European Integration at the Ukrainian Ministry for Agrarian Policy and Food. This has been Viewpoint. Now back to the news.